There is going to be no government shutdown, that Mike Johnson is going to be able to pass a CR that we can continue funding the government until the end of the year. And within it, there has to be the SAVE Act. I just want to say to you very clearly that the undocumented, the people who have been here for more than 5 years, been here 10 years, the undocumented portion, do not want to vote. And I know it because I serve that community. I speak both languages. I know how to communicate with them. And the average immigrant who's an illegal, who's undocumented, just want to be here and want to work, live a dignified life, and then go back home for Christmas. They do not want to vote. The problem is that the Democrat operatives are telling them that they can and showing them and making it easy. But I'm sending a very clear message to the Democratic Party and to the undocumented that they are not going to vote. And I'm going to make sure that I send that message that voting is illegal and they do not come to this country to break the laws. They come to help.
Quality TV. I'm your host, Qua. Quality TV is the channel that you're on right now. And in today's video, we got to talk about Kamala Harris's policy page. She's finally put policies on her page. And I just want to bring some attention to some of the policies. We got to kind of cut through some of the fodder because it sounds good, but if you're not really paying attention to it, you might miss some of the key details, and which is really telling. In my opinion, it's really telling. It kind of shows that she really doesn't know what she's doing. I also think that it's kind of ironic that she finally puts her policies on her page a day before the day before the debate. Why? So Trump can't say, "Oh, you don't have policies on your page." Like, I mean, I guess it's an effective tactic, but you've waited this long, and one day before the debate, you decide to put your policies on your page. Come on, we kind of got to do a little better, Kamala. I wish you the best, but I'm not falling for it. I'm not falling for it at all. I'm not buying it. I'm not buying what she is selling. But without further ado, let's get right into the video.
Economists are pouring cold water on Vice President Kamala Harris's latest economic policy regarding small businesses. The plan, aimed at reducing startup costs for new businesses, includes a $50,000 standard tax deduction for small businesses instead of the current rate of $5,000. But Harris also proposed raising marginal tax rates on corporations and individuals, which economists argue would cancel out any benefit of the startup deduction increase. I want to bring in Florida Congresswoman Maria Salazar.
That's already bad. So what? Let me one more time.
$50,000 standard tax deduction for small businesses instead of the current rate of $5,000. But Harris also proposed raising marginal tax rates on corporations and individuals, which economists argue would cancel out any benefit of the startup deduction increase. I want to bring in Florida Congresswoman.
Exactly. She's going to give $50,000, but then she's going to raise taxes on individuals. This is a magic trick. It's a magic trick. She's trying to David Blaine her way into the White House. I mean, she's already there. You could have done this a long time ago, but now all of a sudden you want to change your position before the debate. So I'm going to have to take her for what her radical stances were before she dropped these policies page, and even on this policies page it's still radical.
Salazar, she is a member of the House Foreign Affairs and Small Business Committees. Congresswoman, good morning to you. Welcome back to work, although I know you've been working all month. But what do you make of this proposal coming from Vice President Harris, and do you expect to hear about this tomorrow night on the debate stage?
Of course. What a disaster, huh? What a disaster. Biden and Harris have had 4 years to help small business. Why now? And since I am a member of the Small Business Committee, I can tell you that more regulation, more taxes, a lot harder for the small business to flourish. Price controls is one of her ideas. Not only that, is that now, if that were to be implemented, the farmer in Arkansas is going to be receiving orders from a bureaucrat in Washington what eggs and beef are going to cost him. A disaster. Regulate.
Farmers are businesses. what's happening in Venezuela, right? They're sending all their people here. Their people are running from Venezuela to be here. Maduro implemented price controls. And what happened? I've even heard stories of people eating animals out the zoo over there that's so starving. You're going to tell the farmers that they can't sell food for a certain amount, then they're going to not sell it. And we're going to have a bigger shortage. Prices are going to skyrocket higher than they already are. And then what? She's going to throw some more money at it to fix the issue? Stop it. One day before the debate.
Taxes is socialism, and don't we know about it? I represent the Cubans in Miami.
Yeah, well, I want to ask you about this because just this morning, Congresswoman, Kamala Harris and the campaign finally produced the policy page. We had this page even yesterday was still blank this morning. Now, there is a section about small businesses, and I want to get your reaction to what she writes because it's actually what you just said. Okay, so she says she led the Biden-Harris administrations to increase access to capital for small businesses, bring venture capital to parts of middle America. Here's what she says. She tripled the Small Business Administration's lending to black-owned businesses and more than doubled small dollar.
What black-owned businesses are you aware of that's benefited during this administration? She said it. She tripled the price for black-owned businesses. Crickets. Like, I don't know anybody with a business, a black person that I know with a business that's benefited during this administration. Now, in the last administration, I know lots of people, but I'm kind of upset. Like I'm kind of upset at this because you've had almost 4 years to do this. Why are you switching up? Why are you switching now? Why are you switching now? To pander. She's trying to gain. I'm not falling for it. I hope you guys at home, I hope you're not falling for it either because this is insane. It's absolutely insane. We're doomed. If she wins, we're doomed. We are doomed.
Lending to Latino and women-owned businesses. She also has championed and expanding federal contracts for minority-owned small businesses. That's what she writes this morning.
Listen, the Small Business Administration in the last 3.5 years has been very mediocre. Small Business Administration is this agency we have in at the federal level to help those little small businesses, 66% of the economy. It's a disaster, starting with picking up the phone and from the Small Business Administration and helping the little farmer or the little shop florist that's calling from Idaho. It's a lie. The small business does not need government. Small business need freedom, lower taxes, lower interest rates, no inflation in order to flourish. We don't have to tell the American regular.
On her policy page, she states that she cast the tie-breaking vote for the Inflation Reduction Act. What has the Inflation Reduction Act done to our economy? We were spending out of control monies. Like we were spending amounts of money that we could ever dream of. We were spending so much money, like $9 trillion during after the Inflation Reduction Act. And what has it done for the economy? Raise the inflation. And the Inflation Reduction Act should have been called, I don't know, the Inflation Increasing Act. I don't know. But it was terrible for the economy. And here she is doing the same thing that they were doing during the Biden administration, was throwing money at problems. And throwing money at the problem is not going to fix it because we're going to have to pay for it on the back end.
Or the immigrant that is coming to set up a little shop, how they have to run business. They just need to have government away from them and they will flourish. And I repeat, I represent the city of Miami.
What does it say? She has led the Biden-Harris administration efforts to increase whatever.
The heart of the Cuban exile community, and there are hundreds upon hundreds of little small businesses that have been able to flourish.
A record of 19 million new business applications, tripling the Small Business Administration lending to black owned. That's cap. That's all cap. Like, This is kind of making me sick, bro.
But not with government, because with Harris, government is first, the individual is last.
Yeah, interesting. Liz Peek is on set with me. She's got a question for you.
Good morning, Congresswoman. I think one thing you didn't mention is regulation. And the House Budget Committee came out with a report saying that regulations under Joe Biden on businesses are costing $1.4 trillion, more than any president in history, which is pretty amazing considering that Obama was like the chief of regulatory overhaul, or I should say overstepping. Isn't that also a big plus for President Trump as he compares with Kamala Harris?
Listen, it's evident. And I always say, regardless of what you think of the President Trump, what you feel about him, whether you're thinking whether to vote for him or not because you do not like this or that, you have to look at his policies, not at his personality. 4 years ago, we were the envy of the world when it comes to economic indicators. Come on. High interest rates, inflation, bonuses to the employees, lower taxes for corporations. It's simple. It's either free market economy or it's socialism, where government is God, and in the free market, the individual is God and has power and will determine what to do with his life and with his money.
Let me ask you a question. As an American citizen, after hearing what she just said here, what would you rather have? Would you rather have the government controlling everything that you do, controlling how much money you can make, controlling how much you can sell your products for? Or would you want to have the freedom to enjoy capitalism, the freedom to enjoy and live the American dream that America was built on? Which would you rather have? I don't want the latter. I don't want them all in my business. I don't want that. I want the ability to make my own choices and make the kind of money I want. Like in America, we have to have product. How do you get rich? Offer a service to someone that costs more than what you're selling it for. That's how you make yourself useful. You can't regulate prices on small businesses or farmers. You can't. What is price gouging in food? These people operate with the 1% profit margin a year, and you're going to tell them they can't sell food for a certain amount of money?
So I'm not sure what the American public is thinking. You know why? Because they do not have a point of reference like we do. We, our constituents, we have lived what socialism is all about, and where government is God.
Yeah. Well, speaking of government,
let's not even go there.
Speaking of government, Congress is back in session today. And the big news, obviously, is this partial government shutdown is looming again October 1st unless a funding plan passes. So on Friday, Speaker Johnson debuted that continuing CR. He's expected now to link the SAVE Act to the proposal, which aims at keeping these non-citizens from voting in the elections. Residents, by the way, still petrified in Aurora, Colorado, because that violent Venezuelan gang Tren de Aragua, they're apparently taking over these apartment complexes now. One landlord had to sell his property. They're also causing worries in North Texas, New York, Florida, and more. So, former President.
All the money that we've been spending, things are getting harder for us because the money that we're using to pay into our system, this is what they're funding. These people are getting free money, free schooling, free health care. It's sickening what this administration has done to our economy, to the everyday American. Like, this is terrible. And this is what we get. This is what we get. Open borders, right? Open borders, inflation reduction. Can it get worse than that? Honestly, if you feel like what can be worse than this? If you feel like something can be worse than this, drop it down in the comment section. I want to hear your thoughts on what can be worse than the state of our economy coupled up with the migrant crisis. What could be worse than that? I want to know. Because I don't know. I obviously, this is bad to me. I don't know what could get worse than this.
President Trump did speak about the takeover. I want you to listen to what he said.
As we speak, heavily armed Venezuelan gangs have taken over entire apartment buildings and apartment complexes in Aurora, Colorado, terrorizing the residents. They're taking over. They've left. Under Border Czar Harris, we are being conquered. We're being actually conquered, if you think of it from within. But as soon as I'm back in the White House, the conquest will end. We will dispatch ICE and the elite teams of federal law enforcement to clear out the gangs from Aurora and every other American city that's being torn up and victimized. And we'll get MS-13 and other vicious gangs out of our schools, out of our high schools, your communities, and out of our country.
Okay, Congresswoman, so two issues.
Just a quick moment. That's cool. I want the ones that shouldn't be here to be gone, but the way these dudes are armed, I can't see a deportation operation that's gonna happen without Americans losing their lives. I'm on board with you, President Trump, but at the same time, I think the situation is too bad for it to be that simple as mass deportation. Somebody's gonna get hurt. Somebody's gonna get hurt. That's how I feel about the situation. Because hell no, we won't go, right? They came here. They're not gonna leave easy. We're gonna send them back to Venezuela and wherever they came from. We don't have a diplomatic relationship with Venezuela, so they're not gonna take them back. What are we gonna do with them? There's too many people to. I don't know. It's kind of scary to think about.
First, you've got obviously what we're seeing with the violence coming from this gang, which I know that you are very aware of course, in your district. But also, I do want to get your thoughts on where we are with the SAVE Act and the funding plan. I mean, this is an election season, and some are saying that this is kind of a dangerous time to talk about a government shutdown once again.
Right. I'm sure that there is going to be no government shutdown, that Mike Johnson is going to be able to pass a CR that we can continue funding the government until the end of the year. And within it, there has to be the SAVE Act. I just want to say to you very clearly that the undocumented, the people who have been here for more than 5 years, been here 10 years, the undocumented portion, do not want to vote. And I know it because I serve that community. I speak both languages. I know how to communicate with them. And the average immigrant who's an illegal, who's undocumented, just want to be here and want to work, live a dignified life, and then go back home for Christmas. They do not want to vote. The problem is that the Democrat operatives are telling them that they can and showing them and making it easy. But I'm sending a very clear message to the Democratic Party and to the undocumented that they are not going to vote. And I'm going to make sure that I send that message that voting is illegal and they do not come to this country to break the laws. They come to help. Is the operatives in the Democratic Party the ones who are using that group of people who are undocumented and they are uninformed to use them to increase voting, which is completely and absolutely illegal.
So,
that's why
Congresswoman,
I do agree.
How do you?
They're trying to steal the election. Like, it makes sense to me. You allow open borders. You wine and dine the migrants when you got people here that's struggling every day. You wine and dine the migrants. Why? Just tell me why. Usually when somebody wine and dine somebody, they want something in return. They want that vote. They want the migrants to vote for them. Like, it's genius almost. But I don't know. That's not okay. We need fair elections. And I hope this one's a fair election. I hope that it's a battle against policies. It's a battle against common sense. It's a battle against America first versus America last. You can't save us by continuing to trash our economy. You can't save us by giving our hard-earned tax money to support the migrants. How are you going to save us that way? Tell me how. Tell me how are you going to save us? We need individual approaches to our issues. If you can empower the man and the woman, then we can solve the problem as a whole. But giving me a handout is not going to help me solve the problem. If I am struggling all month long, all year long, and you give me a bunch of money at one time, what do you think I'm going to do with it? I'm going to throw money at my current issues. And once that money's gone, what's going to happen? My issue is gone. It's still going to be there. But that's my time for today. If you enjoyed the content today, please feel free to like, share, and share the content. If you have an opinion on it, if you want to, if you feel like maybe I'm not informed enough or there's some things I'm missing, just let me know in the comment section below. I appreciate you guys for all the support that you've been giving me. And until next time, peace, love, and fish grease. I'll see you on the next video.